morning, it's Jason and Megan from Oma's Apple Sauce, and we're heading down to Western Sydney this morning as part of Opal's Cuppa Q&A series.
Yeah, we're going to have a chat with Peter, who cared for his mum for 6 years, and she had quite some complex care needs. Had a bad fall, ended up in hospital, and he needed to find a longer term care solution that would work really well for his mother, and he found it.
Good. Look forward to meeting him. Well, thank you so much for having us today at your home to share a cup of tea, and we're really looking forward to hearing about your mum Maria and her health journey and your journey together.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Look, Mum immigrated to Australia in 1957. So Mum and Dad, pretty hard workers, market gardeners as they do. Dad was a concreter, so put in all the hard yards. Fantastic.
The good solid Italian stock.
Good solid Italian stock.
Yeah.
And look, couldn't ask for any greater parents. The family's always the centrepiece. There was only one child, which was myself. She always, had the family at heart. It was always the centrepiece.
Yeah.
So, very, very good.
So you're saying your mum lived for quite some time with some acute care needs. Describe for me what some of those needs were.
Look, she'd be okay for a couple of years, everything would be fine, and then, with depression and schizophrenia, every now and then she would have an episode, so she needed a lot of care, which Dad and I provided. A lot of that was at home. In the early days, there was some hospitals around that she went to, and then she was with the same private specialist for about 43 years until he retired. And didn't not once go into hospital from there on, and we basically managed her at home.
So that's something you kind of remember Mum always having?
Yes, as a child, because that's when it started. So, so I can always remember that.
Wow.
It's hard times, but it builds character. So it gives you a bit of inner strength, I suppose.
Yeah.
So you can see the other side firsthand.
And was there a time when you were living together, or did you say that you lived next door, or?
Well, before I was married, I obviously lived at home, and then we lived next door when I got married. So we were lucky enough that Mum and Dad had a bit of acreage here, and that subdivided into a property, which so we've basically grown up on the same plot all our life. So it holds a lot of memories and a lot of history behind it. So and in one way it was really good, because that way when Dad passed, we could keep an eye on her and support her, help her, and it worked out quite well.
At what point did that switch kind of flick and you ended up sort of having to become her primary carer? Describe that sort of journey.
Obviously, as she got older, she needed more and more care, not only mentally but physically, of course. So obviously I was working, great deal of balance between work life and looking after her. So my wife became the primary carer for Mum while I was working. So she did quite a bit for her, shopping and looking after her personally. And then after that, I'd actually retired and then became her primary care. So quite involved, quite a lot of work. You don't really understand unless you go through it.
Yeah.
There's quite a bit of work there, a lot of time involved, a lot of appointments to attend, personal needs, everything.
Was there a bit of a cultural expectation for you to return that favour as well?
Yes, definitely there is a cultural expectation to do that, particularly European background, so everybody, looks after their own. And, basically, it's your choice at the end of the day. You don't have to if you don't want to, but for what they've done for you, you return the favour. And really, there was no questions. My wife's on the same page. We did the same for her parents. So there's quite a bit of work involved in looking after them. So you really don't mind doing it.
And so what changed in terms of why did you start to transition into a care community for Maria?
Okay, well, look, the way things were going, she was living next door, as we mentioned earlier, and then she started slowing down a little bit, so we actually moved her in with us so we could keep a closer eye on her. So we've got a few stairs in the house. She was still walking up and down stairs okay, everything was fine. Then she actually had a small fall while getting up in the bathroom. She had slacks on, tripped over that, and actually fractured her patella, her kneecap. So look, she ended up in hospital. Everything was going well, everything was fine for about 2 weeks. She started walking again and then ended up with sepsis. So, and then got transferred back to hospital, and then it was virtually 4.5 months of hell, really.
In the hospital?
In the hospital. So, look, it was mishap after mishap. She had 9 infections, or reoccurrences of infections while in hospital. One of the infections actually lodged under her lung on the back of her spine. And that sort of knocked out her lower half of the body, so she became incontinent, she couldn't move, she couldn't walk.
What were you thinking? Were you thinking, is she ever going to come home? Or?
Well, look, good question, because she lost all feelings in her legs, couldn't move them. So we came to a bit of a really quick realisation that, hey, she mightn't be coming home.
Yeah.
So, we had a good chat about it, and as every emotion that you go through with these things, you really don't want to put her into a nursing home as such. So it was a really big decision for everyone.
So did Mum understand that she needed full-time care, and was she on board with that, or was that a struggle?
Oh, look, I really think that she understood that, because it was really hard to talk to her at that stage because of all the medications and her condition. They took away medications that were treating her mental health issues, and she had a bit of a relapse, and it was very complicated, very, very complicated. But even 8-9 years ago, she said, one day I think I will end up in a nursing home. It was like a premonition that she had that this would actually happen. And as we started talking, I can always visualise in the hospital bed, she said, look, I really need to be looked after. And she actually said, I need to go somewhere so they can look after me. So she had the nous to come up with that.
So you've been able to have a conversation with Maria around moving into a full-time care. And then how did you choose Bosley Parkside Care Community?
Oh, look, I think that was probably an easy one for us. Mum actually volunteered some of her time to the Bosley Park Care Community Centre, which is only a 3-minute walk from our place. It's on the same street.
Yeah.
And like I said, 3-minute walk.
So she was familiar with the environment?
She was familiar. She knew a person there. This goes back about 15 years plus ago. And she visited her, then she visited some of the other residents. And it was just helping out a little bit. So, and for us, really, it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
We made an appointment. We saw Stella there at Bosley Park Care Community. Very friendly, very open. Took us for a bit of a tour around the centre there. It had a nice homely feel about it. The centre's not brand new, but it's the care factor. And that was very, very important for us.
It is very much the people, isn't it? I mean, you can bricks and mortar and glass and furniture are one things, but finding the right people that you feel you can entrust with the care of your loved ones, really, really.
Well, the first thing is definitely the team.
Yeah.
Look, they're very dedicated. You can see them. Personally, I don't think I'd have the aptitude to actually do that role. You need to be a special person to do that. When she was in hospital, she contracted a bed sore. It ulcerated, it was getting worse, it was getting bigger. When she was transferred to Parkside, Bosley Parkside, they had a look at it, and in about 6 to 8 weeks, they got on top of it. They started treating it themselves, it started coming good. Then it did a bit of a U-turn. They got the specialised nurse team in. And within a few weeks after that, it had virtually gone.
What was most important to you, Auntie Maria, in making that her new home?
Basically two things. One was the proximity.
Yeah.
Because I know Mum's high maintenance in terms of wanting to see people, I'm there every day. So I'm there for about an hour. It takes me 3 minutes to walk down, 3 minutes back. I'm there for about an hour. So usually end of the day I'll go for a bit of a walk. And the next thing is you want peace of mind, reassurance that she's being looked after.
Yeah.
You know, the best possible way that she can be looked after. And look, from what I've seen, she's getting that.
What's bringing her joy now inside the care community, and how is she adjusting?
Right. Look, it took a bit of time to adjust because she was still in that phase from the hospital. But she got much better mentally, physically. She can now start to move the legs. The home's quite good because they've actually got some physio happening there. She's gotten to the stage now with help she can actually stand. And, you know, she's just coming along very, very well. And, very determined lady.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, so she's putting a lot of effort into trying to get there.
Yeah.
And, she's made new friends there. She's got a little group. Likes the colouring in that she does. They run movies and videos. She can sit outside a little bit. So they help her move around, wheel her around. So, she's settled in well now.
So it's great to hear that Mum's involved in the activities and sort of making friends there and socialising, which is wonderful. How's your mum's mental health being managed in the care community now?
Well, Mum's on long-term medication. And, the home ensures that she gets the medication. So that happens. But then another good thing about the home too is you can have your doctors and specialists attend the home, and she's being managed by the Brayside mental health care team for the elderly. She has done so for the past 8 years. Absolutely brilliant. Actually, I've got an appointment today with them after this, and they always turn up to see Mum. Any medications that need to be tweaked or what have you. So the specialist, the team leader turns up. Very good. So she's in very good hands in that respect.
I guess your mum's care needs are a little unusual because there's a multidisciplinary care team involved in helping manage both her mental health needs, also her mobility rehab. How do all those teams work together? How does that all click, and does the care community help support that on an ongoing basis?
Oh, look, definitely. I generally supply a schedule, and they'll record all that. They'll have who's coming, or if she needs to go out in one of those special taxis, times, dates. They ensure she's ready, if she has a breakfast or lunch or what have you. So they're really good at managing Mum for these appointments. Look, no issues at all. Very, very good.
So how have you managed to, I guess, switch those hats between being Mum's full-time carer and now you're that carer advocate? How has that been for you?
I must say it was quite difficult to start with. Again, due to all the pressure when she was in hospital and trying to get your head around it, it's a real emotional roller coaster, to say the least, what we've been through. But just knowing that Mum's being cared for, that's put us at ease quite a bit. So it really hard at first, because you still want to be that primary carer, you still want to be there, you still want to do this.
Hands-on.
Nothing's ever good enough for Mum. And, you go through, it's a human trait. So you go through all the roller coaster emotions. But, as things settled, she settled, you can see what's going on. She's in good hands. So you can't ask for more than that.
So if there was any advice you were going to give somebody who's in the same sort of shoes, walking in your shoes right now, what would that be?
Okay. Probably the first bit of advice I'd say, look, nursing homes have had this stigma over the years, and after being through what we've been through, absolutely totally different. So, you know, I know we had the COVID factor thrown in and everything else and a lot of bad publicity, but from what our experience, personal experience, been absolutely great. There'd be no way we could look after her at home to the degree that she deserved to be looked after. Much, much more at ease now, especially after these last 8 or 9 months that she's been in there and from what we've seen. So, you know, we're very happy and yeah, we can breathe a little bit. We've got a little Italian group there now and, you know, they have a bit of a chat. Although sometimes they can't hear each other, but they always nod and smile and it's good to see. So it makes them happy.
Peter, it sounds like Mum's in a great place. You know, she's 3 minutes down the road. You can visit her every day. It's beautiful to hear your story, and I just want to say thank you for sharing that with us today.
That's okay. Thanks for coming, and it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.